I mentioned in the introduction that Toni is one of the most mentally resilient people I've ever met in my life. And you wouldn't know it, obviously, from appearances necessarily. We shared an experience last year, and this is, for anyone who says detractors about social media, this is the greatest thing that social media has ever done in my life. Toni, in 2021, posts a picture of boots that she's going to wear to hike Kilimanjaro. And she said September. And so I said, oh, this is amazing. It's something I've always thought. I've been to Africa like 7 or 8 times. I've always looked at that mountain and thought maybe someday. And she just direct messages me back. We're not friends really at the time. We're acquaintances. And she says, join us. It got real very quickly, when someone says join us. I text a friend of mine who is a really experienced hiker, like 250, 300 hikes. And he says, I'm in. I got no place to go now, I'm going. So I commit to it, and a group of 8 of us, Toni arranged everything. So as nice as it could possibly be, there were a group of 8 of us, and the support crew was 64 people. Guides, porters, cooks, people that carry your stuff up the mountains. It's still, you had to climb the mountain, you still did, your water, all those things. It was not easy. 8 days, 7 nights. And we trained for the better part of a year on local mountains. So Toni and I are the least experienced in the group. We probably have 5 to 10 hikes between 5 and 8,000 feet elevation. Kilimanjaro is just under 20. It's a big deal. And so we go over there, and like I said, the other 6 are really experienced and accustomed to it, and altitude, and doing hikes over multiple days. We prepared for a year. We all have like our gear from REI and our boots and our poles and everything you could possibly need to be on a mountain for 8 days. And Toni's gear doesn't show up. She sends it separately and it doesn't show up. So she's got to start this adventure. She has her boots, luckily, because she went on safari beforehand. I asked John, my friend who has this 300 hikes, what would you do if that happened to you? He goes, I would cry. To go on a mountain without your own clothes, your socks, your gloves, your hat. She goes into a store at the first hotel before we even start and buys everything. Everything you can buy. She's wearing like an oversized down jacket to climb Kilimanjaro. And she never let it bother her once. Not complained, not saying, oh, it'd be easier if I had my own gear. Her gear showed up the last night. They ran it up the mountain for her to get changed. She's the first person, we believe, to ever summit Kilimanjaro in full makeup. She insisted on doing that. And it was the last night. I'll show you some videos from the top. The last night is you get up at 2 in the morning and you hike. It's a 15, 16-hour day. It's about 5,000 feet of elevation gain. And then it's the hike down, and you are delirious. And I didn't really notice this about you until I looked at the videos again. Like, you're always focused on yourself because you're trying to survive. When I say this is the hardest thing I've ever done by a factor of 30, adding up everything else, it was harder than anything we've ever done. And in my mind, on the last night, in the middle of the night with a headlamp, climbing up, just basically sand and volcanic rock, just up, up, up. It really takes its toll. I'm saying, if anyone quits, I'm quitting. I'm tapping out. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever done. It's so stupid. I play sports that have quarters and innings and timers, and you know when it's going to finish. You don't know when you're going to finish this thing. And Toni, what were you thinking at the same time?
I'm thinking if Dave taps out, I'm tapping out too.
But she doesn't talk to me. I don't talk to her. We get to the top. I'll show you the video. And I looked at video of myself afterward. I did a video every night the one thing she sprung for, that was so nice, is we each got our own tent, we each got our own cot, so you had your own space, you weren't sharing it. And she also said that men and women have their own separate portable toilets all the way up. But each night I recorded a video, and you could see my face distorted. And it looked like I had, I'm not joking, like 30 years to my age. It was so horrible to watch. And so I watched these videos, and like I said, never complained. Let's see if it works actually. But if anyone ever think of climbing Kilimanjaro, here is a very happy 8 of us at the summit. This is my Instagram post. Hers is much better photograph.
You see, there's the sign. There's the crater. Peak that is, but it's pretty imposing, and that's where the sun broke. It was beautiful. And this is some burning glaciers. And that's Mount Meru, the second highest peak in Tanzania. But we are so far above the clouds, to say this is an airline view would be an understatement. We've been above the clouds for a couple days, but the team was great and so supportive and encouraging. Pick your ass up if they need to.
I already had so much respect and admiration for you, but to see the way you handled adversity and led our group through example, it just was something that I'll always remember, but I felt transformed by it. And I wanted to share how you feel sort of before and after that, and what it meant to you in terms of what you learned about yourself.
Oh yeah, I mean, oh my God, Mt Kilimanjaro. I mean, if you guys have opportunity to do it, do it. It's once in a lifetime experience. And really, you know how like all the sages, when you look at like old stories or testaments or like whatever, all the sages, where do they come down from? They all come down from the mountain. They go into the mountain and they come out and come down a different person. And there's something about altitude too. You know, the thing is, it's almost like experiencing near death. It's almost like a near death experience. I think every time somebody has like a near death experience, like you just come out of it a different person. But there's 3 things that you learn on the mountain. Number 1, and this is like not just on the mountain. This is something that you could apply to your business, to your life, your friendship, your family, like everything. In Kilimanjaro, pole pole is slow, slow. Number 2, 1 foot in front of another. And then number 3, our guide, Charles, the entire time, he said, close your mind. What does that mean? That means your mind is your worst enemy. Your mind is your worst enemy. So close your mind, and then 1 foot in front of other is 1 step at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 problem at a time, and then pole pole, slow slow is do everything do everything slow, but not like action slow, but know that anything that you build, a company or whatever, don't do anything in a rush. So if you do those 3 things, then you could definitely build something amazing, a great brand, a great friendship, a great love, or whatever that may be that would enhance your life so much greater.
You know, that could be a TED Talk. Yes.